Just what Oakville needs. One more mansion. We are standing at what is the beginning of our Stonebrook residence project. This is going to be a 4,200 square foot home with a French chateau inspired interior and an Italian exterior. We are super excited to get this one off the ground. Very special project, very special clients. The husband actually puts up high-rise buildings, and so he's going to be erecting his own concrete structure, and we are lucky enough to be able to fill it in and make it beautiful for them. So really excited to get this going. We're going to start to walk you through this process. Literally from day one, they're in the process of setting their footings in place, and there are some issues like water in the ground that are going to have to be contended with, but step by step, unraveling this whole situation, we're going to get through it, and we're going to bring you along for the ride. So the beginning of every construction site or every home build starts out like this, just a giant hole in the ground, and you start to unearth your first set of problems, right? Like, what are you going to find? Over here we have a ton of water. We already knew that there was going to be water issues with this particular property. Pretty much all of Oakville likes, or at least this area of Oakville likes to drain itself through this property. So we knew there was going to be issues to begin with, but it's a little more complicated than we had hoped initially. So that's problem number one that we're going to have to deal with. Number two, you can see how deep we are in the ground here. And if you look, you can see the foam over there. That's a clay pipe. That's the old drain line out to the city sewers. And you can see how low our basement floor is going to be. So big, beautiful home, and we're going to have an ejector pit taking all of the sewage, combining it into a pit, macerating it, pumping it up, and then out through that line. That, or we're going to look in to see at what level on the street side or on the city side the pipe actually exists, because this could have bumped itself up between this point and where it connects to the city. So these are things that have to start to become unearthed, and you never know where it's going to go, but nothing's easy about building a home, particularly of this stature, and it's part of what makes the job fun is the fact that no two projects are the exact same. You'll notice the little pins on the ground, so that's where the surveyors come in and staked out where all the critical points of the foundation are. So they're starting to build out all the foundation forms, all the footing forms, and that's step one, right? So first you dig down, you get your solid ground, and then you start constructing the footings that all the walls are going to sit on. And this project in particular has concrete floors, concrete columns, concrete beams. It's going to be constructed more like a commercial building rather than a home, and then everything gets filled in with wood to give it that pretty face and structure. But there is no load-bearing wood in this project at all. Actually, there's one wall, but that's about it. And it's going to have some pretty major loads to handle. So the footings are much larger than standard. The foundation walls are much larger than standard. They get as big as 15 inches. A typical wall is 8 to 10 inches. So far more substantial, but it's also going to make it far more interesting. So as you can see here, one of the other complications, as they were digging out the hole, they actually hit bedrock. And when you're close to the lake, you can actually see all the sediment, all the layers of compaction that are happening here. And things get complicated sometimes. It's not always plain and simple, dig a hole, right? So yeah, you can dig it out, but this is a lot harder to get through. It also makes for a fantastic foundation, right? If you're sitting on bedrock, that house isn't moving anywhere. And this is pretty much all concrete structure to begin with. So concrete on top of bedrock, this house is going to be solid. Typically there's a settling point where you want to wait a year or 2, 3 before you finish the basement. In this house, they can just go. There's nothing holding them back because everything's going to be so solid. This is where the garage is going to be. So this is all the footing, all the foundation for the garage. So the 2-car garage here, and then this is where it juts out further for that third spot. And it's funny because I've reviewed the drawing so many times, right? And to actually see the hole cut, standing in the spaces and envisioning what's going to be above me, and built around me is, you know, it never gets old. It's always a special feeling. So just cool to see it starting to come to fruition here. Other thing that's funny about this project is look at the size of the footings. Typically they're they're just enormous, right, in depth and width, and that's all to be able to spread the load out and make sure that there's solid bearing, right? So whatever weight is sitting on top of that wall needs to be appropriately spread so that the earth doesn't compact underneath it, right? You have to spread it evenly. And in this case, we're actually on bedrock, so it's not going anywhere to begin with, but the engineer has to specify footings that are going to be suitable for sitting on the clay, the beautiful Oaville red clay. But we're actually below that level and there's nothing to worry about. But it was all specified to be built on something more soft than the bedrock. So funny little things as you move along the process. Another cool feature about this home in particular is at the back there's going to be a all concrete pool. So while they're digging the foundation out for the house itself, there's a walkout concrete patio at the basement level, and then you walk up and there's going to be hot tub, sun deck, and concrete pool with a little waterfall feature and everything, all in that back corner, which happens to be where all that water is sitting. So we're going to have some ejector pits, some you know, have to mitigate the water that's going to want to congregate in that area and kick it out where the city wants us to. So while we're sorting through this process, next steps are we need to start planning for new gas runs, new water lines, new electrical. These processes take time, and so we're going to get those processes rolling now, so when we actually have a structure up and we're ready to start using these things and roughing them in, the ball's already gone down the line and they're waiting on us rather than the other way around. So looking forward to bringing you guys along on this journey. It's another fun one, always something different, but we're looking forward to watching this one unravel. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you want to come along with us for this journey, you know where to find us at pewter.build. Have a great one.